What is up, football fans? Back at it with another pre-draft video, and I'm joined by a very special guest today, Washington Commanders fan, Marti Joines, Mr. Command Cave. Marty, how are you doing? I hear you're on your way to Detroit for Thursday night.
Yes, yeah, good to be on. Glad to be back. Love the review and preview shows. And yeah, we'll be heading out Thursday morning to Detroit, 8-hour drive to see a historic night for our franchise.
That's awesome. And you're in PA, right? So you have a little
Correct.
hike up, right? Awesome.
Yeah. We're going to stop and do some sightseeing on the way back. But getting there, going to have a good time and excited to see all of the exciting action that is in store for our franchise. This is our Super Bowl. You know, when you win 4 games, this is what gets you excited.
So quickly here, you guys traded away Sam Howell in the offseason, and then, of course, you lost Chase Young, during the season last year, your 2019 second-round draft pick. You're picking 2 again 5 years later, but this time with a new GM and Adam Peters and a new head coach in Dan Quinn. Marty, to scratch the surface here on this, what are your initial thoughts on those 2 hires?
Yeah, I think both of them were great. Wouldn't say home run from any headlining standpoint. Peters has more of that factor, right? Great resume. And starting from the top with new ownership and bringing in new fresh guys, I think Dan Quinn is a good marriage for this, as he's got experience from his time in Atlanta and being in the league for a very long time now. He's seen a lot. Adam Peters has been in the league, but he's never been the guy. This is his team. This is his shot. So he's going to I would think he would heavily rely on Dan Quinn as his experience moving into this year and into the future.
Yep. Dan Quinn, New Jersey native, by the way. And Adam Peters, I remember he was a finalist for our GM job 2 years ago. I definitely like that hire for you guys at general manager. Some offseason changes, Marty, for Washington. You got Austin Eckler in the backfield. You signed Marcus Mariota, brought in a veteran tight end in Zach Ertz after losing Logan Thomas. But most importantly, I think spending on the O-line in free agency, Tyler Baidaz, Pro Bowler, and Nick Allegretti from the Super Bowl winning Kansas City Chiefs. What do you like about this new look offense, specifically the O-line, and what still concerns you?
I think offensively, like the O-line, the interior is now fortified. We've got that center, Baez, like you said, bring in Nick Allegretti from the Chiefs, winning culture. Folks remember he filled in for the Chiefs and actually played the Super Bowl with a torn shoulder muscle in there for pretty much the entire game. So it just shows what type of player and toughness he brings. And we have Sam Cosmi there from last year who graded out pretty well. Concerning, though, still is the tackle positions, left tackle to be specific. Picking at number 2 with the prospects that we'll be looking at here shortly, kind of probably feels like a quarterback. So we got to make sure that that's stabilized. If that means in the draft, if that means a veteran that's still out there that we feel could be a stopgap. But that would be the main concern right now on the offensive side is the tackle positions and the left tackle. But all added Zach Ertz, like you said, a great safety valve for a young quarterback. And Austin Eckler, too, as well. That was a missing piece from our offense last year. Antonio Gibson left to go to the Patriots, and I wish him well, but it just always felt like we were missing something in the passing game from him, and hopefully Austin Eckler can bring that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I like that a lot for you guys. I still think the tackles are concerning. I know Wiley was inconsistent at times last year, but I believe Cornelius Lucas is your left, right, at the moment?
Correct. So. Yep, at the moment we brought him back. Great swing tackle. Would not mind him being there because he can play left and right and has done that for us for the last 3 years. But to be a full-time left tackle starter is concerning with who we're going to have back at center this season.
Absolutely. Speaking of who will be playing under center for Washington. There are two, I think, major prospects that it really comes down to, Marty, at the quarterback position. And first and foremost, let's talk about the LSU quarterback prospect in Jayden Daniels. 5 years of starting experience, 3 at Arizona State, 2 at LSU. Cliff Kingsbury, we know he has an extensive history with dual threat quarterbacks coming in as your OC. What do you like about this guy?
Yeah, Jayden Daniels comes with a lot of attributes: speed, size, quickness. He's not your typical scrambling quarterback when it comes to size. Even Lamar Jackson at 6'2". Daniels, standing at a whopping 6'4", brings a different element. Big body guy. Frame is still slender, but at 6'4" is a little bit different and can run like a deer. I think what Cliff Kingsbury can do with him inside and outside of the pocket is very encouraging and intriguing. It will be interesting to see if that's the route that they go, what style of offense can really fit him, and I think Cliff Kingsbury's can.
Yeah, and if you're looking at Drake Maye now from UNC, a guy who not too far from the DC area, 2 years of starting experience at North Carolina, great arm talent. 2 really good years, Marty. What sticks out to you about this guy?
What sticks out to me for Drake Maye is, again, his size too as well, being 6'4", arm strength, and I think it's the potential of what he can turn out to be. In 2022, his first year starting there in North Carolina, had a little bit better offensive line and weapons than he did his previous season here last. And it showed. He came out firing, ACC Offensive Player of the Year, showed a lot of promise, and folks were already putting him up there with the Caleb Williams prospects during that time. This year, as he's still projected to be a top 2-3 pick, folks have soured on some of the tape they've seen due to some inaccuracies, especially in the short game. But overall, I think the sky's the limit for this guy. Can make all the throws necessary in the NFL, has the leadership qualities from what you read, and I believe that he could be a franchise-changing quarterback. A great, easy example would be comparable to Josh Allen and what he did with Buffalo. That type of player and that type of attitude that he could bring to a franchise.
And that clutch gene, too. I think he has that, which is very imperative to that next level in the NFL.
Very huge. Very huge, yeah. He is the number 1 rated prospect right now in the offensive side when it comes to clutch throws, big-time throws. He had the most last year of any college quarterback. So, like you just said, he can make the throws, all of them, and when the pressure's on. So you've got to love that if you're sitting as a GM in that 2 spot or 3 spot.
And quickly here, now that we've gone through both quarterbacks, what's your favorite quality, Marty, about each of these guys? You mentioned the big-time throws for Maye. You mentioned Jayden Daniels, how he is very much of a dual threat, making great throws, running on his feet as well. What is it for you that really hits home?
Yeah, Daniels, for me, it's the playmaking abilities. 2012, we saw that firsthand with RG3. It was a different style of offense, and he was able to bring that electricity that the league hasn't seen. And I believe Daniels has those qualities. He has straight line speed at a quarterback position, standing at 6'4", like I said. That's just going to be completely different than what folks have been seeing. I think Lamar Jackson's like a rabbit, and this guy's more like a deer. We're talking straight line. If your defensive end crashes in and your outside linebackers looking the other way, it could be go for 6 quick. So that's what I like about Daniels, is that playmaking ability where if they slack off for a second, it's going to be a touchdown. And for Drake Maye, I think it's his competitiveness that he has. Watching a lot of film on him, watching a lot of just inside the locker room, most of the folks in North Carolina have just said he's super competitive. He comes from a very competitive family. Father was starting quarterback in North Carolina. in the 80s, 4-year player there, started there a couple years. And as well, all 4 of his brothers played some sort of professional or college high level. The most probably recognizable, May, is the basketball player there a few years ago from North Carolina who hit the game-winning shot. So there's a lot of family talent, a lot of competitiveness in him, and I love that for a quarterback. I love that in any position coming into the NFL, have that family heritage of just great athletes, and I think he's the 4th one and could be the best one, and that's what I really like about him.
Awesome. Now, sticking with May here for a moment, a lot of people view him as a boom or bust quarterback. And personally, I want your opinion on it, Marty. But first, I think his O-line play at UNC was subpar at times, but he also made every throw. He has like that Brett Favre, Josh Allen gunslinger mentality. He's going to fit throws in tight windows, but he's also going to throw interceptions. That's who he is. Do you agree with this boom or bust status, and does that concern you at all?
It is concerning. I agree with it in a principle, right? I think from a boom or bust, a boom, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. That's the type of potential this guy has. From a bust standpoint, I think his floor is a little bit higher than a bust. But at the same time, teams are going to have to be very patient with this guy, like Buffalo was with Josh Allen, like Green Bay was with Brett Favre. He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to try to make throws that a lot of folks wouldn't even try to attempt, but he has special arm talent, and he's going to get there. If you can build the team around him and know, hey, we're going to take shots, but I think a lot of folks sitting in franchises all across the land would take Josh Allen right now all day long. With the problems that he might have as a turnover machine, he still is able to be one of those top guys that at any Sunday could put up 40 points in a drop of a bucket. So I think that's the type of prospect May can be. Teams are just going to have to be pretty patient in seeing that boom potential.
I fully agree. I'm in alignment with you there, Marty. Now, Jayden Daniels, why could the Commanders pass on him? Do you think there's a chance they pass on him, and why?
Yeah, right now in the sports books, Jayden Daniels to the Commanders minus 300 doesn't bode well that we would pass on him. But if we were to pass on Jayden Daniels, I think it would be a combination of 2 things. One, as we have talked, Cliff Kingsbury loves a mobile quarterback, and there are some connections with Drake Maye in North Carolina and Cliff Kingsbury. Phil Longo was his offensive coordinator down there prior to moving to Wisconsin. They worked together in Texas Tech under Mike Leach. A lot of connections there in the North Carolina realm. And I think that could help boost May up over him in the sense of comfortability moving forward with May. I also think that there is some concerns with Daniels when it just comes to longevity. Of course, when you're talking about a quarterback that can rely on his legs, that automatically comes. We've seen that firsthand. But Lamar Jackson has proven that he can stay relatively healthy and do it, but he still misses time. And that could be a concern with Jayden Daniels being a little bit more slender than him. Can he put on the weight? Can he take the hits? Can he be smart? And that could be concerning to some front office folks in DC.
I was watching some film earlier today on both of these guys. I did film breakdowns on my Giants channel, Big Blue Avenue. Out of courtesy, I don't think we're getting either of them, but just to do my due diligence on these 2 and have information about them when I talk about them to people like you or, other colleagues when I do the draft show next Thursday night. Drake Maye is definitely the stronger of the 2. He has more weight. So that's definitely a valid reason why I think the Commanders might pass on Jayden Daniels. Arizona State, he did get a little banged up, but he definitely made an awesome comeback under Brian Kelly at LSU, winning that Heisman Trophy. So, Marty, you are in my opinion, the best spot because you know what Chicago's going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You have pick your franchise quarterback. The verdict.
Yeah.
Put your GM cap on. Who are the Commanders taking on draft night and why?
Yeah, I'm headed to Detroit, and if Adam Peters, hey, you want me to come sit next to you to help you out, you just let me know. I could be boots on the ground. However, if I were to have the decision right now, I would take the quarterback out of the University of North Carolina and Drake Maye. I think the potential for him is too high to pass on. We're going to have to swallow the lumps. I don't believe he's NFL ready as Jayden Daniels is right now. But I think in a few years it could boat to where if he's in a system, in the right ecosystem, with the right coaches and the right mindset, he could become a very special talent. So, yes, it would be Drake Maye, quarterback from North Carolina.
I like it. I personally don't think you could go wrong with either prospect here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Drake Maye to Washington is a very realistic possibility. I think May might be a better fit for the Commanders than Daniels, but I've been seeing too much of them linked to Daniels as well. So I'm going to take the other side of this here. I think they're going to take Jayden Daniels. I think he can hit a lot of those good throws. Again, my only concern with Daniels, like you said, his durability and hitting quicker receivers in stride on deep passes. I think Drake Maye has proven to be a little bit better at that than Jayden Daniels. But I think from what I'm seeing, not my personal take, from what I'm seeing, I think it is going to be Jayden Daniels. So I like that. We have different sides of this here. And I do ultimately think both quarterbacks will be an instrumental success in the National Football League. Marty, any final thoughts? It's been a pleasure having you on.
Yeah. No, final thoughts here. I'm excited to go to Detroit live. A quick top 5 mock draft for you to get everybody's brains flowing for Thursday. I've got Caleb Williams going number 1 overall to the Bears, Drake Maye 2 to the Commanders. Huge trade in the Las Vegas Raiders coming up to 3 for Jayden Daniels. 4, Big Blue's going to like this, a trade from 6 to 4 to select their quarterback of the future in J.J. McCarthy. And 5, the Chargers stay pack and take wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. from Ohio State. So I think there could be a lot of craziness in the top half of this draft. I think a lot of teams are looking forward to next year and seeing a weaker quarterback draft class and feeling like the pressure is on to get a guy that can change the franchise. And there are at least 4 or 5 quarterbacks in this draft that I believe can do that.
Wow. So 2 trades in the top 5. I love it. And neither one of them were the Minnesota Vikings. So that's very, very interesting there from Marti Joines, Mr. Command Cave. Marty, thank you so much for your time. It is deeply appreciated. Safe travels to Detroit. Best of luck, and we will talk very soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. And, excited for Thursday for everybody.
Absolutely, Marty. Thank you so much, folks. You've been watching another edition of our pre-draft content on Review and Preview Sports.